try to say everything because you'll be up here for 20 minutes. Just pick maybe three things that you really want to tell somebody that you like about their speech, and then three things that you think they could improve on. And the rest that you want to say, you're going to write it down on the evaluation forms. And we have something in Toastmasters that we call the sandwich technique. And it's basically what I said. You start out mentioning the strong points that the speaker has already. You all have some speaking skills, or you wouldn't be here. Okay, and then the middle part, you suggest some improvements. And you have to be kind about this. Use I think, or next time I suggest. Don't say, oh, you didn't do that right, and what a mess you made. And then you want to end it on a positive note. You want to encourage everybody to come back next week, and the next week, and to come back and give another speech even, right? So please use a lot of encouragement. And the last thing we learned at
Young Toastmasters, I recently read that people who are born in the zodiac sign of Sagittarius like travel better than to arrive. Being a Sagittarian myself, this is so true so true. The journey through life is so interesting that I'm not so keen on where I'm headed. The journey so far has had some interesting stops at major events in my life. I've found that I've got to know myself better through these events, more so than any horoscopes or zodiac books have said about me. I was born in England, and I arrived in India when I was 2 years old. I grew up in a metropolitan city called Ahmedabad, which was not as big as Mumbai, but big enough, where I graduated from college. I left the protective umbrella of my father's place and went to pursue a master's in a town that was 50 miles away from my home at MSU University. This was my opportunity to meet classmates from different cultures in India. I learned not only my master's program, but I made some lasting friendships as well as learned the similarities and differences in different cultures from India. Next phase took me to my engagement. Growing up, I always knew that I would have an arranged marriage. So unlike the stigma that arranged marriages are forced, my marriage was not forced. I was introduced by my parents and a mutual friend of the two families to my future husband. Once I met this person, I was allowed to decide whether to move forward. So when I met my future husband, I said yes to my parents, and my yes to my parents meant to me that I could meet this person for a few more dates and then decide to move forward. My yes to my parents meant that yes, I could meet him as many times I wanted to get to know him before my engagement, which was in 5 days. And to this day, I cannot imagine how I agreed to this timeline with my parents. Looking back, and also knowing that I'm an optimistic person myself, the combination of my optimism and the trust in my parents got me to this place. Going on, I traveled to the US 4 months after my marriage to join my husband's family. Everything that was familiar to me was now only reachable by costly phone calls or mail. Even the clothes that I packed were not the right ones. So imagine, after a week of staying with everybody, and then being home alone, nobody to talk to until everybody came back home after work. It was difficult at first, and then it got better as I got busy updating my CV, applying for jobs, studying for TOEFL, GRE, and then of course cooking. So I learned that I could adapt and also took every opportunity to learn new things. I landed my first job at Cornell University Medical Center the day of my interview. And then from then, there was no looking back. I moved from Cornell to Rockefeller, to Wyatt Ayers, and then to Merck. I worked at Merck for 18 years, and the time has just flown. But I also have learned that I like challenging myself and do not like no change, because that I feel stagnated. So in my quest to challenge myself, I moved from basic research after 12 years to clinical development. During this journey, I also have given birth to 2 adorable daughters. They are 20 and 15 now. I must tell you that I feel very old when I'm around them, and I'm talking beyond 70. I feel senile because my 15-year-old always starts her sentences with, "Mom, make sure you don't forget," or "I knew it, you'll forget." And my 20-year-old, she just smiles at me benevolently and says, "Mom, it's okay, it happens." And then, again, I really believe in giving back, especially to the community I live in. So I have been involved and have also had an opportunity to serve on the library board of my community, town, and also to organize Indian community events in the community where I live in and the organization that I'm involved with. Both the roles have been very fulfilling to me. So in my quest to always challenge myself and learn new things, I joined Toastmasters. And like my zodiac sign indicates, I'm always looking forward to the journey rather than end. So my fellow Toastmasters, I urge you to follow me through this path of this eventful journey of learning. And hopefully this has been as eventful as my own life.
Sit there.
What is it? I would-
But you sat here.
Dad, look, each stick.
And Sapan, when he starts the first sentence, you're